Well, we're here. We're at episode 6 of Coastin. That's Piv. I'm Finer. Piv, when we get past the 1 hand to the 2 of what episode we're on, I mean, I just feel like we're cruising. We're coasting along. And another great week in the ECHL. And we have a mystery guest coming up. That'll be after our first guest, CJ Mott, the netminder for the Allen Americans. So we got a great show on tap today.
We do, and as you mentioned, going to the second hand, I think I did it the first time this way, to count how many episodes we've done. I mean, that's a thank you to everyone who's watched at least like 12 seconds of this in any terms of the first 5 episodes. So we appreciate that. And again, thanks to FloHockey for kind of giving us the reins with this as well and telling us to have fun. And we're having fun. And hopefully the people listening as well are having some fun as well.
It's like the best hour of the week. I really enjoy editing it when, we go through and actually when our people are editing it and I'm looking over.
Yeah. We don't lift our fingers for this. The most I do, I open my laptop, I turn on my lights, I make sure my microphone works. But usually if we didn't, non-pandemic times, I would have someone do all those things for me. But obviously you can't do that now because all of the close contact. But now, I open my laptop and the show happens. Same thing with you too, Dave.
The magic just happens automatically. But what was I saying anyway? So, first off, I was going to ask, so 5, I did the thumb thing too, but would you distinguish between 5 + 1 with the index finger and 5 + 1 I always go with the thumb on that.
The thumb, because if you have to add more, you're not going to add your thumb back into exactly. So right. You always keep your thumb as one, because you don't want to be like this and go, let me add another one, and then you mess up the count. Yeah, you don't want to mess up the count. You want to keep people following along. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You don't want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It doesn't work like that.
Yes, we're in agreement on that end. Secondly, we got some news in the Premier AA Hockey League. 2 new franchises have been announced this week that will take play in the next season. So that's 21-22, the 21-22 season. So we're going to talk about that for a sec. We have Trois-Rivières up in Quebec, which will be one of your closest opponents with the border crossing, 3.5, 4 hours. And then you add the 30-40 minute border crossing. Not too bad, probably a day trip for you guys. And then we have Coralville, Iowa. The team names are still being worked out. I know Trois-Rivières has had a name the team contest. I'm not sure about Coralville, but proud to welcome 2 more teams to the Premier AA. That will bring us from 26 up to 28 when we're at full strength next year with all the clubs playing.
And it's going to be fun to see 2 new teams come in. And you also have to look at it for all the guys who didn't get a chance to play this year as well. A lot of spots were filled this year because there weren't that many spots. So there's a lot of overcrowded teams right now. And I'm sure next year when those 2 teams come in, they'll have some spots and they'll welcome those guys who are kind of on the outside looking in with open arms. And as you mentioned, Trois-Rivières, it's going to be fun seeing them in the North Division. I think it's going to make travel a little bit easier for us in terms of when we fly out to maybe St. John's, because a lot of times for us to make things easier, since we're so close to Montreal, about 2.5 hours, we'll drive to Montreal and then fly from Montreal to St. John's.
Well, you say it that way, and people might not know what we're talking about on a map. So I'll use the hand here, and I'll just go. So this would be like St. John's, right? Because it's the furthest east if you're looking at a map. I think I'm doing this east. Okay, I actually got my weatherman technique down here. So you say you drive to Montreal, which is like here. And then Toronto is here, let's say, on this hand map.
Yes.
But you don't fly from Montreal to, this way to St. John's.
We don't do that.
You have to fly from Montreal to Toronto back to St. John's. So it's really good in theory. And yes, you should definitely fly from Montreal to St. John's.
Or just to get to Canada first. That's
right. But I'm just saying, it sounds really good in theory, until you have to tell the story where you had to turn around, if I'm mistaken. You were about to land in St. John's.
Yes.
I'm sorry to open up the wound, but this is too good of a story.
This is actually the last trip we went on before everything got shut down. It was like the first week of March.
Oh, great.
So it was like the smoothest trip we've ever had. So, when flying with a bunch of people and a lot of equipment, flights, it's tough for flights to accommodate you. That's really how it is.
Sucks.
That's what it does.
It stinks.
Yes. So in order to keep everyone together and keep all the bags accounted for, and Air Canada does a great job. We love Air Canada because sticks fly free on Air Canada.
That's okay.
Go Canada.
Sucks a little bit less.
Yeah. So, and they're used to the way the hockey teams travel too, which makes it a little bit easier. So they have like your designated spot that you go to if you're checking in as a hockey team. So this is a normal trip. I think we were going. We went to Montreal the night before, had dinner there, kind of explored the city for a little bit. Flew out the next day to Toronto because it was like an hour flight, and that's just the way things have to split up in order for everything to be accounted for. So we go to Toronto, seamless, like no problems at all. We get on the flight to St. John's, no problems at all, smooth sailing.
Can I interrupt for a second?
Yeah.
This is how you know something's about to go wrong, because that's the way it works in life as well as in the Premier AA. Yeah.
And plus, we had like dinner plans at like 6 p.m. in St. John's, and we're flying throughout the day, and we're making great time. We have dinner plans. We get to go out and have some fun in the town after, because we didn't play until Wednesday, because we always go kind of 2 days early just in case things hit the fan at the last second. So, and we're on one of these huge planes. It's like, because a lot of times they'll fly planes to St. John's or to Newfoundland so they can go to Europe afterwards.
Yes.
So it's one of those big, 787s. I think that's the biggest one. So it's like 3 seats, 4 seats, 3 seats in the back, and they never really fill them. So you kind of just get to like lay out wherever you want and have all this room, which is exciting. So I'm watching a movie. I forgot what movie it was. And, they turned down the movie to do the in-air announcements. And on Air Canada, they do it in both languages, both French and English. So it doubles the time of the announcement, which is fine. Like, it's great. You feel very cultured on a Air Canada flight because you get to learn a little bit of French. So we get the announcement. All right. We're about 20 minutes away from landing in St. John's. Flight attendants, please prepare for landing. We're going to, descend. So, okay, I put my headphones back on. I have a little bit left in the movie. I forgot what movie it was. I think it was Ford versus Ferrari. Very good movie.
Good movie.
Yeah.
So, good flight movie.
Yep. So I was watching that. And then about 10 minutes later, you get another announcement. All right, folks, we're going to have to, I'm waiting for okay, we're going to have to chill out for a little bit in the sky, do a couple of loops. We're going to have to turn around and head back to Toronto. There's some ice on the runway, and they weren't prepared for our plane. And I was like, what happened? And we had to turn around with 15 minutes left on our flight to go back to Toronto.
4-hour flight.
Yes, this is a 4-hour flight, and we're 3 hours and 45 minutes into it. So we turn around, go back another 3.5 hours to Toronto, and then that's when all hell breaks loose from there. Because at that point, our job is doing travel and whatnot. Yeah. I have to fix this whole situation. This is basically, how are we getting to St. John's to play the game? So there are a lot of unhappy people because there were storms I think they were out west, the storms. So they're like Edmonton, Calgary had a bunch of storms. So a lot of people's flights got rerouted, but we couldn't land because our plane was too big. They didn't clear off enough runway for our plane, and which was spectacular. So I'm waiting on this helpline. And if you've ever been to the Toronto airport, it's basically one corridor. It just loops around. And this was going for about, I would say 33 gates, this customer helpline. So I get into my desperation mode. I turn that on. I mess up the suit a little bit because we travel in suits to look good. Mm-hmm. Mess up the hair a little bit to make it look like I'm a little more disheveled and disgruntled than I actually am, even though I'm pretty upset and under a lot of pressure to get this right. So I go over to the customer service desk. I'm still waiting. And I end up finding this manager just walking around. I said, hey, I have 27 people that just got kicked off of a flight. Or not kicked off of a flight, I'm doing the wrong, but had to get off of a flight that got rerouted back here. We have 52 bags, and we need to get there by tomorrow. And they're like, oh my God. Okay. So luckily, me finding that person kind of helped. Mm-hmm. And then, cause I was traveling with a big group, so that also helped too. It wasn't just me can I get a flight back? I don't want to sit middle in economy, but, I didn't care. I just wanted our guys on the plane at some point. So they ended up working with me separately. And I think a lot of people were upset in the line when they're like taking me to the front. And so they had to find not only all of our tickets, they had to find all of our bag tags,
Yes.
which flying, especially I think Southwest does this a lot. Well, think about what's great about Southwest and minor league sports, especially hockey, bags fly free. So a lot of times with Southwest, they just give you a roll of bag tags and you put them out. But sometimes they want to get specific, make sure the person's name is actually on the bag tag.
Which is Air Canada. They do that.
Yes. Yeah. Air Canada puts the name on. And sometimes they're cool about like whose bag goes on what. I literally just said like, hey guys, just give us a roll of bag tags. Like it doesn't matter it's going to point A to point B. Like we'll see our bags. So we end up going I think they end up getting us on 2 different flights the next morning. One at 6 a.m., one at 7 a.m. And we got a free night at one of the local hotels.
Yeah. Was it the one next to the we had a similar situation 2 seasons ago where we were stuck in Toronto for a night. There was a restaurant that was like, and next, like a Tim Hortons, then a restaurant right next door. I really can't remember it.
I forgot what the restaurant was.
But the Tim Hortons was like, it wasn't a drive-through. I think like there was only just a little bit of space. No, it was a drive-through.
Did you have to walk from the hotel to like through this car dealership to get there? Because that's what we had.
No, we're talking about different hotels then, I think. But anyway.
Yeah, so we end up getting at flights next morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. But before we left, what are we going to do with our bags? Because our bags weren't checked in at this point. I'm like, we don't have a bus at this point because we had a bus going to Montreal, but we don't have a bus going anywhere from Montreal to Toronto or Toronto to St. John's. So they're like, well, we can't really do anything about that. I was like, we have 52 bags that need to get on flights tomorrow. That's really what it comes down to. So they're like, well, you guys can take it downstairs to luggage and see what they do. See what like they want to do, baggage claim. I said, okay. So we went down there. We talked to these 2 awesome guys, and they're like, okay, so you guys will be back first thing in the morning. At this point, it's like probably 10 at night, I think. Back when things were open after like 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So
and no, I was going to say nobody is wearing masks in the baggage room either, which is a key. Not yet. A week later, everyone was wearing masks.
Exactly.
At that point, no one was.
So luckily we found these 2 guys, and they said it's not guaranteed that your stuff will still be here, but we can keep all your stuff down here so you don't have to lug it back to the hotel. So I said, perfect. Awesome. Thank you. And then we gave them the flight numbers for the next day, just in case something happens to it. So we get to the hotel. That check-in's a complete disaster because of all the other people too. It's like not only just us, it's everyone who got rerouted. So I was getting calls from guys, Piv, we have 1 bed and there's 3 of us. I was like, it's one night, guys. I can't do anything. The hotel's full. I didn't plan this. I didn't give them any sort of rooming list. Like just one night, please. We have to get up in 4 hours. So some of the guys were cool with it. Some of them, I got a couple of phone calls and text messages. Like, I don't want to sleep on the floor. I was like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I'm off duty for this night. So I
figure it out.
So we get to baggage claim probably around 4:30. And we're just hoping that our bags are still there. Not only are our bags there, our bags are all tagged and ready to go for our flight. So these 2 guys that we gave our bags to, all of our bags, they put them in like the containers so that they could be on the flight. They tagged them all so we didn't have to touch them. And we were like, thank you guys so much. Yeah. We tipped them. We made sure we took care of them to the best of what we could. Because they
Canadian or American? How did you tip them?
I think it was American.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more of a, yeah, but like it's worth more.
Well, yeah. So. And I guess you could go figure out how to exchange.
Yeah, you're in an airport.
That's true. That's true. Okay.
You exchange it. But that was they made everything better, and then we got in that afternoon to less problems, which is nice. And then that was our last road trip. That's my last my last road trip.
We went to Wheeling. It was March 9th, so we played Brampton March 8th at home. Disappointing game, lost 2-1, scored a goal with a minute left. first responders game. It was like a good atmosphere for a Sunday. We go to Wheeling the next day, and we had just clinched a playoff spot at that point, so spirits are high.
Mhm.
It's 70 degrees when we get to West Banco Arena. Like, it was like a little bit cooler in Reading, like 55 probably,
Yeah.
but for some reason it was hotter in Wheeling.
Paradise.
And it was paradise. So we got to Wheeling probably around 4:00. It's later out at that point. It's probably like 6:00. It would get darker, 6:30. And we're at the Ogle base, or on top of the hill.
Yep.
Have a nice dinner. I went for a little like walk after dinner. The guys are sitting on like the back porch, like that was the area of the hotel we were in. Everyone had like a little porch, like standing out there, just hanging out, enjoying. And the next day, school day game, early rise, good breakfast. The boys are buzzing. There's 5,000 people, 5,000 kids in the building, and we're on the bus ride back, and I forget who it was, said something and I was kind of thinking that we might not have fans maybe a week or 2 weeks or for the playoffs. Like, I didn't quite know how it would work out. And then a day later, we are I'm in my buddy's apartment, Calvin's apartment, our video guy. We're watching some NBA basketball, and we see that Rudy Gobert has coronavirus, and then 24 hours later, the world is shut down. So that's just the way it goes. But
Exactly.
anyway, so Trois-Rivières and Coralville are joining the East.
That's what we were talking about.
That's what we were talking about. And Coralville will be a good addition. Potentially, they could. I was kind of thinking about it this way. You could have Coralville in the Central Division. The Mountain, you'd have 8 teams, still 6 in the Central, but like Kansas City is an easier drive to Coralville, so maybe they do some flipping around that way. And obviously, Trois-Rivières will be in the North Division as it stands right now, so that'll bring the North to 7 teams? 7 teams in the North. There's 7 teams in the South, Norfolk being a part of the South, so Norfolk will stay there, and I think it ends up making sense when it comes down to it. So that was a nice discussion. I'm really looking forward to talking to CJ Mott here in just a second. If you're ready, we can descend into CJ.
And I want you to talk to him because he's a Michigan native, and Michigan natives love when you do the hand, because Michigan looks like a mitten, and they'll let you know. So we'll talk to him about that and many more topics. Continuing on this episode of Coastin with Piv and Finer, we're now joined by the goaltender for the Allen Americans. It's CJ Mott. CJ, thanks so much for hopping on this episode of Coastin with us.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, starting things off right away, playing down in Allen for the very unique 2021 season. What's this experience been like for you? Obviously, it's something that no one's really ever seen before.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique experience, probably like no other. I mean, getting ready for the season, we knew it was going to be different, but we didn't really know what to expect. And to be honest, it's been, in some areas even crazier than we thought. Getting tested a couple of times a week to make sure everyone doesn't have COVID or not spreading anything like that. Limited time at the ice rink, can only be there like an hour or so before and have to get out of there pretty quick after to make sure they can disinfect everything. So just a ton of different rules and protocols and stuff that everyone just has to kind of adjust to.
We talked through our first few episodes here. I've chatted with players and coaches a lot about that. And the thing I always, and Piv would always go back to, is the fact that the camaraderie aspect's a little bit affected, being that you can't, get to the rink super early, or, maybe get a cup of coffee the same way, or, kind of have that locker room as maybe a second home as you're more used to it. So how have you navigated that aspect through the first few months of the season?
Yeah, it's been tough. I mean, we were trying to have a team Christmas party, and we didn't even get to do that because, we want to make sure no one had COVID. We weren't allowed to get all together. So I think the best way we've done is just kind of had small groups, get together with different guys here and there. It kind of sucks because you don't want to, have cliques going on, because you kind of want to hang with everyone and get everyone kind of on the same page. But, just the year it is, we're doing as best we can as a team. And I think, the hour we really have before we jump on the ice for practice and stuff is really time, get the bond and, see what everyone was doing the day before and big plans for today and that kind of stuff.
What's it like? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Piv.
Yep. You got it, man.
I didn't mean to do that. All right. So Allen is it's a great city to be able to, after the game, there's a ton of restaurants right around there. Easy to deal with. But, like, what's it like after games now? Because it used to be that, after the game, boys pick a restaurant or something, go go decompress, have a nice meal, go to sleep. So what are you doing in Allen instead of being able to have that unique experience that hockey players tend to have?
Yeah, you hit it on the nail. I mean, my first stint in Allen, we did that every time, pick a restaurant, guys, let's go here, meet here. And like, you get that camaraderie going when you get to do that. And this year it's kind of like, all right, where do you guys want to order from? Where are you ordering food from? We got, a couple of restaurants we're allowed to go to, but, even there, they're kind of say, hey, don't go there too often, kind of, make your own food or order something. So it's more of the lines of, hey, boys, where do you want to order food from? And maybe get a big order from somewhere, pick it up, and then, sometimes you can eat together back at the apartment stuff. But yeah, it's just weird not being able to, go to those restaurants and kind of just sit, decompress, and relax a little bit. It's almost like everyone's kind of on edge a little bit because, you don't know ever who has COVID, that kind of stuff. You kind of don't want to put yourself at risk or put the team at risk because you obviously want to have a complete season here. So everyone want to make sure we don't mess that up.
Yeah, you don't want to be known as that guy as well, the one who brought it into the locker room and made a hard time for all of your teammates. So let's talk about on-ice play for this year. Obviously, you mentioned that camaraderie was hard to kind of put together with all the circumstances going on. How do you think you guys have been clicking since the drop of the puck?
I think, our first game, it's first game in, 6-8 months for a lot of guys. So just getting on the same page was a little bit tough. But I think since then, we kind of, lines started to gel, deep partners starting to gel, just overall team, getting to know the system a little bit better, get to understand, what we're trying to do on PK, power play, that kind of stuff. Overall, I think we've, just kind of took it day by day and kind of just got one step better. I mean, that's all you can really do once, especially these times, is just, take it one day at a time because, with testing, that kind of stuff, you never know who's going to be in and out of the lineup at a moment's notice. So, just got to, stick to the script.
Steve Martinson is a legendary coach in this league. Number of championships at not only the ECHL but a number of different levels. What was your discussion like with him when you decided that you wanted to come back for another season, not only with Allen but just continuing your professional career and deciding to reroute from being overseas back to Allen for a second stint?
Yeah, so just, when Marty must have heard that, overseas might not be playing, he gave me a call and asked, what was I looking to do? Because he heard, the leagues might not be playing over there. And I said, well, Marty, I want to make sure I can play. So, if you guys are going to, play for sure, or as soon as you guys know you guys are playing for sure, let me know because I want to find an opportunity to play and, play for a team that, is going to have a chance to, win a championship, win a division. And, with Marty's track record, that's basically every year he's been up there towards the top of the league. So I knew he'd put a good group of guys together. He'd recruit, high school guys that, like to move the puck and play the right way. So, once overseas got canceled, it was almost an easier decision to come back to Allen and play.
Now, back in March, you were with the Coventry Blaze, I believe, in the English league up there. But so when things come to an end in March, what was going through your mind being out overseas?
Yeah, it was interesting. We were in a push for first place. I think we had 5 games left. We were on like a 17-game point streak, and we were just clicking with the Blaze there. And it was really a lot of fun there. Coach had all the boys on the same page, just a great group of guys there. So it was just kind of out of nowhere because we had a game actually the day the league got canceled. And we found out because one of my teammates on the Blaze knew a guy on the other team and texted him, said, hey, we just turned our bus around. They were like halfway to play us. And that's how we kind of figured out like, wow, we might be done too. So it was just a weird situation. It kind of felt like it was an unfinished season, to be honest. We were doing well, pushing for, first place in the league, looking forward to a good playoff run. And then it just kind of all ended there. And as an athlete, you only have, so many teams that are special like that go on big runs and have a chance to win a championship. So just to cut short, just kind of felt like it was unfinished there.
COVID-19, United States leagues, March 11th is the day, the Rudy Gobert day, as we call it here, when everything kind of shut down in the United States as regards to professional sports. In Europe, though, the virus was there earlier. So here it was March 11th. Do you remember what day it was in England that everything shut down and in the UK?
It was probably a couple days after that. We kind of saw on the news, I think we'll start with the NBA players kind of were the first ones to really test positive and kind of talk about shutting down their league. So it's kind of just a trickle effect. It seemed like everything in the U.S. kind of shut down, then everything was talked about in Europe, whether we're going to play or not. And then I think maybe 3 days later is when they're like, we're not gonna finish the season. We're not gonna put anyone's health at risk at this point or anything. So, yeah.
So after this season's canceled, obviously it's a process for you to get back to Michigan. What were some of the steps that you had to take to make sure you got back to the States?
Well, they handled it really well. They kind of asked us, when do you want to get out of here by? Some guys were really, really worried and wanted out there, probably out of there the next day, maybe 2 days. I was probably there for another week or so. I didn't want to feel too rushed to pack up everything and stuff and get out. And to be honest, I'm kind of glad I waited that week, because about 2-3 days after we canceled the season there, you saw on the news, all the airports and everyone flying over, they were packed in New York and waiting 6 hours to get through security and stuff. So by the time I waited about a week to get back, I walked through security 5 minutes or so, no lines, no nothing. So it actually kind of probably worked out in my favor to do that. But it was more like a normal travel day, to be honest, flying back. I mean, with no line security was super nice, but there wasn't any big time, airplane. I guess there was some restriction on the airplane, masks and that stuff. Got a temperature check right when we landed to make sure we didn't have any symptoms or that kind of stuff. So that was kind of unique, but for the most part, it was a normal trip back.
Wanted to flip it back. You're originally from Michigan, and I had the pleasure of working for a summer in Lansing. Evan's been in Michigan a bunch through his collegiate broadcasting career with Bowling Green, and further on, obviously Kalamazoo and the coast, etc. Best part about growing up in Michigan as a kid was what?
A lot of memories, a lot of good things. I'd say just the pond hockey, to be honest. Just waiting at the end of our subdivision. They had it wasn't even a pond. They kind of just flooded this little area and turned into a hockey rink every winter, and just kind of waited for the first really cold days so the ground could freeze, so I could just see them out there, filling up that area, and just spend hours on hours out there with my brother, with other friends around the area, just playing pond hockey until dark, or sometimes we had some lights out there. We were able to play all night.
Your brother, as you mentioned, Tyler Mott, plays for Vancouver in the NHL. What age did you know that you think he would have this sort of success?
He's always been a good player. Growing up, we grew up and playing Port Huron organization, and he was kind of played a level up. So always kind of knew he was a good player, and he made the jump to AAA a few years earlier than I did. So always knew that was there. And once his AAA teams had some success, go win states, national championships, when he really got that chance to make USA, playing there for NDTP for a couple of seasons, I knew he really had a good chance to make a name for himself. And realistically, I kind of, in the back of my mind, I saw how hard he worked every day, and just kind of knew that, he was determined. And, some kids like to, have a lot of fun, and not that he doesn't, but he was always hockey first, get my workout in, get better today, and then, have the rest of the day do whatever. So I always kind of saw it in him, and he worked hard enough to make it come true.
You follow a path from Michigan that's not too dissimilar from a lot of people that have, gone on and played professionally. So Honey Baked is a very, very good program in Michigan for youth hockey. Waterloo under PK O'Hanley, who's been there forever. You talk about Steve Martinson. Well, PK O'Hanley is the Steve Martinson of the ECHL. And the first time I met PK, he told me, he said, "Sorry, I have a habit." And I didn't quite know what he meant. And he kind of just took out a little dip. And he said, "I always make sure that whether I'm doing a radio interview or or a TV interview, he takes out the chew." He's an intense guy, a great guy, the winningest coach in USHL history. And then you go on to play for Ferris State in Michigan as well, over in Big Rapids at the Ava Glavin Ice Arena. So throughout those years of your developing, and man, you're in the Midwest the entire time, you look back on it, what did it mean for you that you didn't have to go to some really, really far away place essentially, but you were able to do it sort of in your little neck of the woods, so to speak?
Yeah, I was looking back at it. It was really nice. I mean, growing up, I would have went and played anywhere I thought would have given me a better chance to, to play college and pro hockey. I was lucky enough to, grow up around Detroit that has, great AAA hockey, so many great programs, and just the competition level is probably second to none. Just playing that competition just helped every weekend just grow and become a better hockey player. And then getting the opportunity to go to the USHL in Waterloo there, I loved every minute of it there for 2 years. I still go back there, almost every summer and help with their youth camps and their tryout camps. I love PK and all the coaches there. He's a habit guy. Absolutely. He's a detail oriented person, and, he makes you a better person for it too, because every detail is meant to make you a better person first and then a better hockey player second. And they do a great job in that organization. I think they turn out some of the best people and hockey players around. And then, getting to play college hockey back in Ferris State, Michigan, only three and a half hours from home was nice, just far enough where the family didn't, crowd me too much, but close enough where they got to make it to almost every home game. So that was nice.
So playing at Ferris State, I got to watch you play for a couple of years. I was over at Bowling Green doing radio there from your – what would be your junior season to your senior season. I got to watch you play. And one of the things I noticed about your style of play, especially in college hockey, you were a pretty aggressive goaltender. You would go to the corners. You would play pucks yourself. Was that something that you kind of took advantage of in college hockey, or was that something that you always had growing up, that aggressive style of goaltending?
I think, not having the trapezoid in college hockey really helped me be able to, kind of go out there and play the puck a lot more. But it was probably when I was 10 years old, 11 years old, we won the state championship in Port Huron. And I had a coach there, Bill Warren, who made me play the puck. He said, CJ, I don't care. Get out there, stop the puck, move it to the defenseman. You know what? You're going to make a bad pass, and they're going to score once in a while because of it. But you're going to help our team out so much more by just stopping the puck and moving it quickly. And ever since, that 10, 11-year-old age, I just always played the puck, always enjoyed it. Kind of felt like a mini forward out there at times, making some sauce passes, to be honest. Felt good. Just, I just felt it was a good way to help my team, win the game and stuff. And if we're spend less time on our end, spend more time on their end, and usually works out.
Not afraid to get physical as well. I've seen you throw a couple of hits.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you bobble a puck and you kind of panic mode, and the only chance you really have is to hit a guy a little bit. I mean, just try not to get a penalty doing it. But, yeah, I can remember some decent hits that I probably should have got penalties for, to be honest.
Ferris State over the last I'm going with a little bit of bias on this, so please correct me if I'm wrong, because the bias I have is that Taylor Nelson led the team to the Frozen Four, Pat Nagel, yourself, Charles Williams. That's as good of a line as 4 straight goaltenders that a program could churn out at the NCAA level, all guys that have played professionally. What makes Ferris State a great school to develop netminders?
I mean, there's probably a few things. I'd have to start with just the defensive mindset they have. I think really helps, boost our confidence a little bit. Like, hey, the guys are going to block shots and kind of play the right way in the defensive zone, which gives us the ability to, be a little more aggressive on stuff because, they're going to pick up sticks on the backdoor guy and that kind of stuff. So I think that really helps. And I think for whatever reason, the coaching staff and the recruiting staff just did a good job of, seeing talented goaltenders. Because like you said, those 3-4 guys, a couple guys before me, Charles after me, like they've had great careers and done a lot of good things in hockey. And I think, just feeds off, what the coaching staff does to recruit and then how they kind of play the game.
Did they tell you that if you come to Ferris State, we play with this mindset, so your goals against is going to be lower than the rest of the country? Is that part of the recruiting?
that wasn't part of it. When they recruited me, I saw Taylor's going to be a senior. If I was going to be a freshman, so I knew I'd have a good chance to maybe play for 3 years for sure. And they said, if you come in and play well, you might even get a lot of games your freshman year too. And Taylor and I kind of think we split most of the first half of the year. Then he kind of took the reins and took us all the way to the national championship game. And, it was a great experience to be a goaltender under him for that year. Kind of taught me how to really be a college/pro goaltender, how to take it seriously, but also how to have some fun out there too. So just really appreciated everything he did for me.
You got to play in a really unique building as well at Ferris State, the Avoglaven Ice Arena, which for people who don't know, it kind of looks like a community rink, but has some stands around it. But behind the benches is that big cinder block wall. What are some of your favorite memories about playing in front of the home fans at Ferris?
Well, just, the roof's so small there. It's not very high, maybe 30 feet, 40 feet off the ice. So, when it gets packed there, it gets really loud, especially at the student section right behind the opposing goaltender. They got some great chants and stuff. I think after my freshman year going to my sophomore year, they actually extended the student section just to fit some more in there. So just the atmosphere that it really creates with that low ceiling. And I think the wall, like you said, the brick wall just kind of funnels the sound back onto the ice and just gets really loud. Just a fun place to play. Monkey
Man. I know he's one of the staples in the crowd at Ferris State.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Monkey Man was the leader for I don't know how many years. And he just did a great job firing up the crowd. He got them all on the same page with the different chants and everything. And, it's a student section, second to none.
With to complete your career at Ferris State, 4 years, you had relative, I hate to use the word stability because it was part of your path. Honeybait, Waterloo, 4 years at Ferris. And since then, it's been like a normal sort of minor pro career in terms of you're in one spot for, a handful of games, a season here, a season there, kind of jumping around. Obviously, the AHL has a part to do with it because you'd be in the ECHL, get called up to the AHL, earning those opportunities. So what system have you developed where you need to move to a new city or you might be there for a few weeks and you have how long, an hour, a couple hours to kind of move your life to a different city? What tricks have you developed to make sure that you can do that?
Really, most of the time I just tell myself, just be comfortable being uncomfortable. You're gonna go into situations, whether it's on the ice, away from the rink, go to a new team, just all kinds of stuff. Just be comfortable being uncomfortable because, all that movement. I think a couple times I was up and down 6-7 times between the American League and the ECHL, up and down one year, and it's getting to meet a new group of guys. But it's just hockey. At the end of the day, it's hockey. You just got to go out there and play your game, and that's kind of how I approached it every day. Just, they call me up for a reason. So just go out there and play your game. That's all you can do.
All right, CJ, before we let you go here, as we wrap up on Coastin, your favorite ECHL city that you've been to so far? Both. And we're going to go for hockey purposes and for non-hockey purposes in terms of playing on the ice and then maybe enjoying the city afterwards.
Wow, put me on the spot. There's so many good cities.
That's what we do best.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed my time in the Quad Cities. I know they're not a team anymore, but just being there for 2 years and, once they kind of found out we were full and we had 9,000-10,000 fans for the last 5-6 home games, that was just an awesome experience. As far as, city-wise, I love it here in Allen. This year, not as much because we're in a bubble, not allowed to do anything. But my first stint here, just being able to Dallas is 30 minutes down the road. They got some neat stuff to do down there. The warm weather is always a plus when it's not freezing cold all winter and, a foot or two of snow outside. It's nice to go outside in your car and have to defrost it. I like Allen. It's just too many good spots to pick too many.
Would you pick if and I will say that I know you wouldn't pick this a lot because you want to make sure you're staying healthy and everything, but In-N-Out Burger is right next to the arena and Whataburger is a 3-minute walk from the arena pretty much. They're almost right next to each other. So are you going to In-N-Out Burger or are you going to Whataburger? Because I know this might spark some debate among the Allen American fans.
I'm an In-N-Out guy. I actually eat gluten-free, so they got a good protein-style lettuce wrap burger at In-N-Out that I enjoy. So I try not to go there too often, but it's really good.
See what he did there? He made it so that it's acceptable for him to now go multiple times a week if he wanted with the answer.
Exactly.
Too,
as long as you wrap it in lettuce, it's healthy.
That's healthy. The way. It's like a salad, basically.
Yeah, it's basically what it is. There's grease dripping off it and whatever, but you're still eating good in the neighborhood. Last question for you. We talked about it before you came on here. You're a Michigan guy, and David was talking about Canada before you came on, and he used the hand. And I know a lot of people from Michigan, when they talk about the state of Michigan, especially to talk about where they're from in the state of Michigan, they do the mitten. And then I think I'm doing this correctly in terms of the upper peninsula and the regular part of Michigan. I don't know, the
lower peninsula,
lower peninsula,
if you will.
Regular Michigan. Where are you from if you want to do the hand in terms of
the hand of Michigan?
Yeah.
Detroit's kind of down here. I'm just about an hour north, right here in St. Clair, Michigan, my hometown.
Perfect.
When you were driving to Big Rapids, keep the hand up. So then you go show us where Big Rapids is in Ferris State.
Oh, if you drive about 3 hours, or you get to Grand Rapids, and about an hour north of Grand Rapids is where Big Rapids is in Ferris. We got Ann Arbor down here, Lansing right in the middle.
Yeah.
Kalamazoo somewhere down here. Yeah, any other Michigan cities?
No, you've been a great sport. You've
I don't want to bring
expectations.
I like the Upper Peninsula a lot. I don't want to make you have to do this whole thing, so I'm going to leave it just at the Lower Peninsula.
That's the point if I can't have one hand.
I know, and I don't want to have you go through that process. But CJ, appreciate the time, man. Best of luck with the season rolling forward. Hope to have you on here again on Coastin. But again, appreciate it. Stay safe, and best luck the rest of the way.
Thank you, guys. Anytime. Happy to come back.
Bringing on the mystery man now, our second guest on Coastin. The mystery man reveals himself to be the voice of the Wheeling Nailers, DJ Abasala. He is the mystery man.
I would have brought 12 cases of Mountain Dew if I knew that DJ was going to be the mystery man and our mystery guest here on Coastin. I think we should keep this like a running thing. We should start bringing random mystery guests, and I'll surprise you next week with one. I'll try to at least find her. But DJ, what a great surprise! Very excited to see you.
Me too. Like I'm a big fan of the show. I'm stoked that I get to be on it. This is awesome.
Well, we'll send you a merchandise crate. We'll get that. Yeah. Put down the
Here's do you want a picture of me as a baby, like playing little baseball here? Do you want that? I'm going the wrong way. Maybe I'll send you that. That'll be your gift for coming on. Is that all right?
Our guests get David Fine family heirlooms.
Anything from the wood paneling room is perfect.
I should have moved down there. Yeah.
Have you done an episode from the wood paneling basement yet?
No.
No, you haven't.
I was considering it today. It just didn't happen. It was time to record, and I mean,
Oh well.
All right, Deej. Quarantine. At the start of quarantine, everybody, people are buying up stuff in the supermarkets. Toilet paper's off the shelves. Paper towels can barely find them. Okay, so what how many cases of Mountain Dew did you buy at the supermarket to make sure you were stocked and didn't have to go back every few days?
I'm going to let you guys down a little actually, because I kind of went the other direction on it, and I decided to try and maybe fake myself into trying to get a little healthier. So
sober, Mountain Dew sober.
Yeah.
So I've only had one soda a day pretty well since quarantine, unless we're in the middle of a stretch that's like a 3-and-3 or something. And then you're kind of like, well, I guess we're going to have to break this habit a little bit. So yeah, I tried to go a little bit healthier than normal.
So have you gone to Diet Mountain Dew?
No, gosh, no, that's fake.
How many would you have? I'm actually curious, because I always, when we play Wheeling, and we're, fairly frequent rivals, the Royals and the Nailers, how many, I don't know, how many Mountain Dews would you normally have on a game night?
This is not an intervention, by the way.
No, I'm just curious.
Fine. No, normally you would probably be a 3 or a 4 soda day. You get your lunch, you get your dinner, and then, maybe a pre and definitely a post game. Well, actually, post game was dinner, so it would probably be a 3. I would call 3 max.
Okay.
Post game though, I guess you've got to get your game notes done, write the recap. Yeah. But doesn't that keep you up late?
No, it doesn't have any effect on me anymore. I
was gonna say, there's no way.
I can drink one and be gone in a minute. It's the stupidest thing.
DJ, how's West Virginia treating you this year? I know things are obviously strange and everything that's going on, but you're one of the lucky ones. You're able to still do your job. Your team's playing. What's the experience been like for you?
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, like you said, it's definitely been different, but we're very fortunate that we're one of the ones playing. So each day is, you take it one day at a time, and you just hope that you continue to move forward. And you look at around it like the NBA right now, and they keep canceling games like it's going out of style. And the fact that our league's been good enough to keep guys safe and to keep the games going is outstanding. It's a lot of different activities. Like, obviously we're not having as much of an in-person community feel. We just recorded our first virtual power hour today for the 19th hole, so that was a little bit different to do. We're doing television for the home games, like legit TV, which I think is neat. I've never actually done real television before. We've just basically taken the stream and put it on the TV. So doing the pre-recorded interviews for that. We have the players actually now come off into a room, put a headset on, and go through a split screen with me, which I love because I never got to do the between periods or the number one star interviews before. So to already have those relationships built and to be able to get the true emotion and be able to put those on the broadcast has been a really neat new project for us to integrate this year. So that's been a lot of fun. The not traveling thing, it hit me at first, no question, because that's something that I love. I love seeing all the different cities. I love experiencing the different foods around the league. So, and there's certain places like South Carolina's got a barbecue place I absolutely love. So didn't get a chance to have that last weekend. But all in all, like, there will be some technical glitches here and there, but the job that the video people are doing to make sure that we're seeing the action and they're not throwing something up on the screen that can throw us off. Like, they've done a really good job in looking out for us and making sure that we have a good quality product to call.
Jared Shaffrin, unfortunately, like, this was one of the first games. He said it's been corrected. He was on Coastin a few episodes ago. He said that there was like a fight and like the goalie kind of shoved someone and then like the kiss cam goes on the screen and wherever they were playing. So, yeah, anyway. So Jared said it's been better lately, but he has had a few experiences like that. You mentioned the food and yeah, you're kind of missing out, but I know that I made you a Reading, Pennsylvania fan for life with the food selection we went. It must have been last February, I guess it was at this point. We went to Tony El Taglio's, and walk us through your experience having a slice at Tony El Taglio's.
Man, like, you treat me so well in Reading with the food. It's incredible. You could just sense when you walked into the restaurant that they just breathe, sleep, eat pizza 24/7, and they take so much pride in it. They've got that laid back East Coast style. Hey, what do you want? Like, it's just so nice. Like, I felt like, all right, we're back on the East Coast again. This is awesome. And the pizza was as elite as it comes. And then we had the cannolis, which that was the best finishing touch. Like, I like dessert, so we've had cannolis there. You took me to the ice cream place in West Reading.
Oh, Sweet Ride. Yep.
That was outstanding. Yeah, we've had a lot of good meals in Reading. I've been very thankful.
Finer's only taking me to Wawa.
That's true, because you had never been.
Well, yeah, that, and I think when we play you guys, it's never like
you're never there.
We never get time to actually go and explore. And if we do, I'm usually having dinner with our staff at the lovely Cheers restaurant underneath the DoubleTree.
The food's really good. I know you're not knocking it. Like, the
best pork chop I've ever had and the best breakfast in the league, I think, in my opinion. We were supposed to go to the Ogilvy and enjoy the Wheeling breakfast, but that was 2 weeks. It was a week after everything got shut down. So we were planning on going to hang out with DJ, going to Wheeling, and going to see what West Banco had in store for us that year. But unfortunately, we didn't get to do that. Had to cancel everything, even the season. So still, that's on the back burner. Have to go experience the food once again in Wheeling, West Virginia.
Hey, don't forget the DoubleTree cookies either, because that's something that the players know it too. Yeah. Like, whenever we were driving into Reading, they would always make sure to let me know, hey, we're going to get cookies when we check in, right? Like, that was a mandatory thing, was make sure that you have the cookies ready.
Yeah, I'm allergic to the cookies, which is unfortunate.
That's a bummer.
Peanut oil or?
No, they have nuts in them. I think they have walnuts in them.
Oh, that's why. Yeah.
Okay.
A peanut is a legume, by the way. It's not necessarily a nut. A peanut is a legume.
The more you know.
I'm
still allergic to it.
It
doesn't change anything. Best breakfast in the league, though, in Reading, Pennsylvania, from my experience at the DoubleTree.
The hotel food, like, am I wrong to say that, like, hotels have really kind of stepped up their dining experiences? Because I don't know whether it was just a bias, growing up, if I was on like a family vacation and we stayed would never eat at the hotel. I don't know whether it's a new thing, but like the food at the DoubleTree is legitimately great. The Ogle Bay's food is terrific. Like the restaurant within the Ogle Bay, you can get one of like the best burgers probably that you could have anywhere in West Virginia.
Even the Queensberry here in Glens Falls
is great too.
Yeah, good food. I don't know. I know there's a stigma behind eating at hotels. I'm very comfortable eating at hotels now. I don't know if that's just, the job that we have and the responsibilities that we have. We're like food and we don't have to go very far to get it. And a lot of times it doesn't cost us anything. I think that plays into it. But yeah, it's one less thing I think that we have to worry about, which I think is why we enjoy it more.
What's your take on this, DJ?
I won't Uber because I'm a cheapskate when it comes to that, but it's got to be within walking distance. I will typically leave the hotel. If there's something walking distance that looks good, I'll go for it.
The best place to eat, in my opinion, in the North Division, I think in the ECHL, we can no longer go there because they do not have a team right now, is Manchester and the Red Arrow Diner. DJ, have you got a chance during the time that you were you've been in the ECHL and have had the pleasure of having the Manchester Monarchs in the league too? Have you had a chance to go to the Red Arrow Diner?
I never went to the Red Arrow Diner, unfortunately. Moe's Sandwich Shop was my go-to in Manchester. They made a Mozilla, which had like 5 or 6 different meats on it. So that was a heart attack on a bun, but it was awesome. That was my go-to there. Being a Portland guy, Portland Pie Company in downtown Manchester is always a good go-to. I'm trying to think what the restaurant brewery place is.
Yeah,
too, that's like right there
Moose,
too.
The Thirsty Moose.
The Thirsty Moose.
We all called it something different, moose related, when we got up there. That's how we remembered it.
And then for the sushi people, right across the street from the hotel and the arena is the all-you-can-eat sushi place, which is where we congregated after games as a staff, which was incredible too. But the best part about the Red Arrow Diner is the experience when you walk in, because it's a small little old school diner and the food's unbelievable, not that expensive. They ring a bell if it's your first time. And if you finish all your food, you get a clean plate award, which is a little sticker that has, I have it. Hold on. Let me look.
Oh, nice.
All right. While he's doing this, I'll fill. No, I'll fill for a sec. So the thing that's neat about the Red Arrow Diner as well is he's going to come right. Jesus, he has it so close. You're going to put it on? You still have it?
Hold on.
No, I didn't realize it was so close. Like, I thought you were going to go run to the other room.
No, I have it in a cup on my windowsill. This is the Clean Plate Award from the Red Arrow Diner. I'm not sure if that's inverted or not.
It's great. You can see it great.
Okay, good. So that's what you get. So that's worth the price of admission in itself. Not a sponsor, by the way.
Not a sponsor.
Red Arrow Diner. But if they would like to be,
okay.
I hope so. I would Uber Eats there right now if I could. I don't know if it's in the cards, but
I'm just hoping they're doing okay, because places like that have been, affected
tremendously
during the pandemic. We wish that we could support them by going there. The Red Arrow Diner is famous though, because it is where because Manchester, when the New Hampshire primaries happen, there's the Iowa caucus and then New Hampshire primaries. And the reason that the Red Arrow Diner is popular, Deej, is because it's a normal place to go. Like, if you're a politician and you want to relate to your electorate and the surrounding populace of New Hampshire, you go to the diner. It's like when people go to Iowa, they go to the Iowa State Fair. There's a famous picture of like Ted Cruz with like a hot dog or like a corn dog or something from a few years back, and you're trying to relate. So like the Red Arrow Diner, they have who has sat in the seats. So like when my father and I went and we sat at the George H.W. Bush booth, because George H.W. Bush like sat in that booth when he was running for president in the 80s and 90s. So now you're a little bit more about history of what makes the Red Arrow Diner good. And sorry to continue the story, but being a proud New Jersey native, I love my diners. And the one experience that, like, it just happens organically when you go to a diner is the food's always, like, good. The food's never excellent. Like, when you go to the Portland Pie Company or the sushi place, like, this is excellent. Like, diner food's always just good. So my dad and I, like, we were there, we're having the H.W. Bush booth meal. And I looked up at him and I said, you know, this is good. And he said, yeah, it's good. And you never have any other reaction when you go to a diner other than, this is good. You never say, this is great. You always just say, it's good. It's good. So anyway.
Yeah, because you never know what you want. The menu is always too big.
Yep.
And as John Mulaney says, never order the lobster.
Correct. Never order the lobster at a diner. There's certain DJ, do you have a list of things that you would not order if you went to a diner? I have an extensive list, but what would you like not order if you were at a diner?
Not really. I don't go to a whole lot of diners, so I kind of go the other way on that one with some of my top spots around the league, to be honest with you.
What are some of your top spots around the league? You talked about before, the connection in Manchester and Portland, but what are some of your go-to spots when you see you're playing a team on the map, on a calendar, you circle it and you get ready for it?
Okay, Jim and Nick's Barbecue in Charleston, South Carolina is an absolute grand slam. That place is unbelievable. And Daryl Dovas, who's the former Trenton guy, actually introduced me to that place my first couple of years in the league, and that place is unreal. Not that I'm superstitious or anything, but I went there 3 times in the conference final when we beat them in 16, and we won all 3 games. So that was I knew exactly where I was going for game 6 and 7 of that series. There's a Hurricane Grill and Wings place in Estero, right there in Coconut Point. It's just got a nice tropical feel to it, and the wings are pretty solid. Grater's Ice Cream in Cincinnati. I know that's not a dinner, but Grater's Ice Cream in Cincinnati is an absolute must every time we're in that city. Norfolk's got a ton of great places that I like to go. Copper River Grill in Greenville. That's right down the street from the hotel. That's a good spot. We went to Rapid City for the first time last year. It's a Firehouse Tavern, I want to say.
Yeah.
That was really, really good. Like, they put andouille sausage on top of a pulled pork sandwich with like a queso or a nacho cheese. Like, that was insanely good. So yeah, there's definitely there's some places I've fallen in love with quickly.
You thought we were going to talk about hockey this entire time, but we've been talking about food for like 10 minutes now, if not more. Dining with Deej. There's a hashtag, Dining with Deej. So explain to us what this hashtag's all about.
It's kind of evolved over the years. So how it all started was when I worked with the Lewiston Maniacs.
Proud Maniac.
Yep. And I traveled my second year with them when I took over for Alex, and Alex came to Wheeling. So our president, Bill Skirman, said, hey, show people what it's like to go on the road. Show them where you're going, what you're doing, all that stuff. And I like to eat. I like to share my food experiences. So that became a popular thing, was everybody wanted to know what we were eating when we were bouncing around Montreal and Quebec and the Maritimes and all those different places. So that's kind of where it all started. And I said, okay, well, you know what? I'll just keep on doing that, and I'll keep talking about it as I come to the ECHL. And people are like, oh, man, we love that you do that. That's awesome. So I want to say it was Chris Hudgens was one of my former colleagues that said, hey, you should call it Dining with Deej. And I'm like, hey, it's got the alliteration. That works. Let's roll with it.
I love that.
So that's kind of where that's come from. And now that's actually my number one quarantine story, is the fact that, if you asked me to cook you anything before March, good luck. You might have had to call the fire station to, extinguish the house. You may have had to call yourself an ambulance because the food may have been under or overcooked. You were taking it into your own hands like that. That would have been good luck to you. But I actually took the time to start figuring out how to cook, and I love it. I've been getting cooking magazines at the store. I got cooking books for Christmas this year. I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I love trying different things. We're actually doing a taco goulash and Frito salad tonight from David Ortiz's cookbook.
Big Poppy.
Big Poppy. He got all the New England sports people to throw recipes into the book. It's awesome.
Mute alert. Find me $5. Who else from New England?
Anybody you can think of has like a recipe in there. Like Ray Bourque's in there, Cam Neely's in there from the Bruins, Terry Francona's in there. I want to say Bill Russell's in there from the Celtics. Bill Belichick has something in there from the Patriots. Like, it's past and present. Like, there's figure skaters. There's Olympians in there. Like, it covers the whole New England sports scene.
This is great.
Yeah, this is tremendous stuff, DJ. And
funny though, like, it's actually easy. Like, those are the easier recipes. I also got a Robert Irvine book. Robert Irvine from the Food Channel. Big fan of his because he's blunt to the point.
Shout out to Robert Irvine.
Yes.
Fan of the podcast, I assume.
Fan of the podcast. Podcast fan.
You look at his stuff, like the one tonight is like, oh, buy a box of macaroni and cheese. He's like, here's how you roll your own spaghetti noodles. I'm like, no, time out. Like, I don't have that much time nor energy in my life to be able to start like literally building things from scratch. Maybe someday I will, but no, I'm not at that advanced level yet.
But now you've had the time. So that's one of the big things you picked up during the whole lockdown, during the whole quarantine. Were there any other hobbies that really gave time for you to really sit down and try to pick up on, or did you kind of leave off on something when you were younger that you found new life for? What was
I would say that the cooking was definitely the new one. Like everybody, I think we all just started watching a bunch of shows. I've always been well, not always. I've recently become an Amazing Race fan, so I'll binge watch those all day long. There was a documentary I watched called Sunderland Till I Die. They're one of the English soccer teams, and that fascinated me for so many reasons. One, seeing the business model of it. Two, seeing the passion of the fans over there in Europe. Three, the fact that, like, and I probably go preaching down your guys' lane on this one, but like the fact that there's actually consequences for being terrible. Like the fact that you can drop levels. Like, imagine that. Imagine the NFL season. Like, if you were having to avoid dropping levels, like all of a sudden tanks go completely away. Like, could you imagine that? Like, all of a sudden.
Well, I thought he was sending a direct shot across our ship here because he's a New England guy. Because he's a New England guy. He's a Patriots fan, and we're Jets fans. So he definitely thought about. Did you think about that when you just said that?
I would say last year he did. This year, not so much.
Well, that's what I was saying. For the Jets' sake, could you imagine, like, all of a sudden, like, them and the Jaguars and whoever else is trying to play to avoid going down a level, or you put it in like our leagues or our sports perspective, like Detroit and New Jersey is playing to avoid getting demoted to the AHL, and you've got, like, let's just say Rapid City and Kansas City currently have the worst records in the ECHL. They're battling to avoid getting sent to the SPHL the next year. Like, could you imagine the intensity of those games? Like, guys would be killing each other because they would want no part of getting dropped down a level.
Or they wouldn't play in this league.
Right.
I mean, that would be another thing. Like, that would be such an unbelievable consequence for not playing well, especially like, so many things are out of your control too.
I just got what you're saying too. It kind of took me a second to click what you just said. That would be
like,
that is a rough consequence.
Like, just like you're under a lot of pressure as it is because there's so many different things that go into maintaining somewhat of a successful sports franchise or an organization in terms of, the Wheeling Nailers, the Reading Royals, the Adirondack Thunders, when there's so many things that go into it besides the on-ice product. You have people that come to the games, every team has season ticket holders, regardless of what the record is on the ice, that will still come to every game. But, you put in going down a league, depending on what your record is, like, that's more added pressure that our small staff does not need.
It'd be amazing to watch. So, yeah, that completely fascinated me. And then I did some reading too, and I got some new books over the holidays too. I'm very excited. Obviously, everybody probably can guess that Doc Emmerich's book is one of the ones that I'm looking forward to diving into. I got Legacy, which I've always wanted to read. It's about the New Zealand All Blacks rugby team, which is the best sports team pretty well in the history of the globe. Like if you look at their all-time winning percentage, it's off the charts, and it's all just because of like their preparation, their mentality, all the different things that go into it. So I've been excited to read that one. What else did I get? Brian Burke's book. I like him, another blunt to the point guy. And then the Dude Perfect guys, because, you know, we're in a modern world where social media runs those shows. So
got to stay hip.
See what they did to, as the book says, go big.
Yeah.
Is your book club going to be called Analysis with Abasala or something like that?
Deej's Digest?
Oh, that's a lot. That's much better.
Get stickers to put on the front of books like Oprah has.
There we go.
That'd be so fun. Oh, so many ideas.
I know. This is the problem when your team isn't playing, is that your mind kind of wanders.
We talk about food more than we talk about hockey, and this is a hockey-based podcast for the most part. I don't know if Flow Sports kind of figured that out, that we don't always talk about hockey, because hopefully they've watched some episodes and figured that out pretty quickly. We don't always talk about hockey, but
the 12 seconds.
Exactly. So our mind, or, you know, we're on the outside looking in now on a lot of these things. Yeah. So we're trying to boost people up to make sure we you know, like Deej's Digest. That's going to be on the cover. It's going to be like the Clean Plate Award, but on the cover of your books at the local Barnes and Noble or the local bookshop.
Deej, I got one more for you. The Wheeling Nailers are the longest running uninterrupted franchise in the ECHL. That carries some weight to it, and with the Royals and the Nailers play a lot, and the Royals are on 20 years now. Next year will be the 20th anniversary season. The Nailers have obviously surpassed that back to days with Carolina and to Wheeling. So I know you don't think about it a lot because you've been the media guy and the broadcaster there for a while, but what kind of weight does it carry to you when you're asked about it, about working for a franchise that's been in the ECHL for so long?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, and the people here will tell you too, like that have been here since day one when the team arrived in 1992. They'll tell you that they've been season ticket holders since day one. And I think that carries a lot. And as someone who, it's funny, history was one of my worst classes in school, but in my job, it's probably one of my favorite parts, just to learn about the teams, the players, the coaches, the people that came through here, what they were like on the ice, what they were like off the ice. And like, it's kind of funny, like some days you kind of wish that you were part of a brand new, like a day one, like whoever's starting Henderson coming up this year in the AHL gets to pretty much dictate how things go from the start. And it'd be cool to experience it from the start, but it's also neat to join a team who's been storied, and like going to the finals in 16 and coming that close. Like this is a team that would be an exciting thing to experience, would be to be part of an organization's first championship, one where the people have waited for so long. Like I saw the reactions of people just to get to the finals in 2016, where we had a police escort back to the arena after we won the Eastern Conference final. The 19th hole opened when we got back from the final. Even though we had lost, they were willing to say, hey, have your own final hurrah with each other. Like the fact that people understand that it means that much, and to when someday that day comes when we get to hoist the Kelly Cup here, it's going to be incredible to see the people's faces that have waited. We're in year 29 to get that first true taste of a championship, and that's going to be probably a day that nobody will ever forget. I mean, there were days in that run that people will never forget, and we didn't even win the thing. We came close, but it was still awesome to be part of that with a storied city.
That first sip of Mountain Dew out of the Kelly Cup, Deej, I'm sure it's going to be the sweetest, most delicious taste of that product you've ever had in your life.
This is so funny. We had Shane Baker and Zach Torquato was the final Wheeling Nailers Power Hour at the 19th hole of that year, and they had the Ginger Cup, which was the Eastern Conference Championship trophy, which, might I say, they paraded that thing around like it was the Kelly Cup. If you watch them take it to local business and just around having a ball with it, you might as well have said that they won that year. Like, they celebrated and they partied like they won it. Like, Allen might have won the championship that year, but we won the partying battle. Like, we had that one, no questions asked. So we did our final show, and to close it out, they actually had Angie, who owns the place, bring a Mountain Dew up to the front of the bar where we host the show.
Yes.
And we poured it into the trophy. So I actually drank Mountain Dew out of the Eastern Conference Championship trophy. That actually happened.
Attaboy, Deej.
That's awesome.
Attaboy.
Deej, it's been a blast, man. Thanks for hopping on for a few minutes and talking about only about hockey, serious hockey matters.
Yeah.
Right.
And stats.
There you go. I love it. No, this is awesome. Like I said, I love what you guys are doing. This is fantastic. To be able to have a dedicated show like this and to really hear from the people that are involved with it, the players, the coaches, the broadcasters, it gives the fans that look that they crave so much. So you guys are doing awesome work. Way to go.
Thank you, DJ.
Thanks Zoom Communications for
not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor.
For their video hosting services. Hey, do you want to give us a little final sign off here or something? Or I hate to just hit like the stop button. I mean, what are you thinking here? What do you want to say?
Talking to me or DJ?
I'm talking to Deej.
I'm good. It's up to you. This is your gig.
All right. I'll just hit the stop button then. Thanks for coming on, Deej. Appreciate the hard work as always.
No problem.